In video 1, we set up the two spreadsheets. We had the report front end, where our data is going to be input and collected, and we had the report back end, where we're going to put the formula. Now, we need to have these two files, because they are separate files, communicate with each other. So that's what we're going to do in video 3. Okay, so what we want is we want to take the information for the names and the gender and the classes, and we want to take this information and put it into another file without having to retype it all. So here I'm going to do something called an import range. Okay, so we go to our back end, and we're going to go to first thing, we type in equals, and I'm going to put import, and as you can see we've got empower, import, import range is what we want, and it says, well, I'm going to need the spreadsheet URL. So this is a string, so a collection of letters. So I'm going to press the quote marks there. I'm going to then go back to the file that I want to take it from, and the file address is that long, almost like a serial number up there. You don't need the slashes of the edit and the spreadsheet. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to copy that there, and put my quotation mark. I'm going to press the comma, and now it's asking me for the actual sheet name. Well, if we have a look, the sheet name is form space 7, and the range I want is A6 to C20. And of course, in a real school or a real grade level, there's going to be a hell of a lot more names than that, unless you're very lucky. And so so you might have to scroll down a few. So A6 to C20. So what I do is I'm going to put my quote marks there, and it was called form space 7 exclamation mark A6 colon C20 each, and close those brackets. Okay, we've got a little ref error here. Now the ref error means that it wants to get the information, but it can't. What we're going to do is we're going to allow it access. You need to connect these sheets. So I'm going to allow it access, just like permission. And there we are. Isn't that beautiful? So 7W, Billy, Apple, Chester, Roger, Sally, Stanley, so on, so on. All this information is now in the details of your report backend. And if Billy decides to change his name to William, well, that's okay, because now we have a live link. So William Arbuckle has now been changed in the other file as well. This makes life so much easier for you, especially as you're having to manage it. It only becomes a problem when some nuisance inserts a column. If they insert a column here, everything goes. So what I like to do is I like to write things like, please do not insert columns, do not change anything, just leave it as it is, because it's working right now. But that's completely up to you and your management style. Okay, that is how we communicate between the files. You tell it where it's going to look, and then you close those brackets. You must make sure you allow the access, and that you actually have permission to allow that access. Okay, so let's try it again. We said that we wanted to allow the teachers to choose the project. So here, in column M, we want this, whatever it is, whatever we're going to choose. I'll tell you what, let's choose some now. So we've got Unit 2 there, we've got New Student there, and Unit 1 there. And we're just doing this so that we can see it change. M6, so we'll start the blank here, we'll go down to M20. So let's see if we can do it. Well, we can actually double click that, copy, go up here, import that range, that saves us a lot of time, and go M 6 to M20. And there we have it. Now there's a little bit of formatting issues here, and we don't actually need the font to be so big, so what we can do is we can just change that much smaller. So we've just managed to get the front end to talk to the back end, or the back end to access the front end and draw information. The next stage is to get the cell, this cell here in the back end, to look at this cell here, which is taken from the reported, the project to be reported, selected by the teacher, and then depending on what this value is, or what is written in here, collect the assessment for Unit 1 or the assessment for Unit 2. So there's quite a few different formulas here. We have, if this is Unit 1, then import the range. If this is Unit 2, then import a range. And the problem we have is that because the import range is part of a formula, then it doesn't dynamically change as you go down the rows. An example, if Unit 1 for William, if Unit 1 is in E4, then import this range here, which would be E7, but that is now not a cell reference, it's an import range reference, and that doesn't change, and you can't get it to change. So what you actually have to do is not import a range, but import a range with an address type to it. And the address would be, you would stipulate the row and the column, and to keep that dynamically changing, you would have to say, okay, it is this row. Okay, example would be William is on row 4, but we are taking the information from William, who's on row 7. So we would say from row plus 3. And then we would have to do the same for the column. But if it's Unit 2, we would be row plus 3, but the column would be more or less. So we've got a few formulas here, so we're actually going to start the formula and we're going to put in an array. So we're going to type in the array formula, and then the first thing we're going to do is our if statement. So ifs, so we've got the array formula. So in this cell we have a few formulas going on. The first one is going to be if, and if E4 is the string Unit 1, then we need to import range. Let's let that make it easy for ourselves. Import the range, and we're going to go back, and as before we're going to select this sheet here. So open this speaker box, dump that in, and instead of just saying okay, this is the range, we're actually going to stipulate an address. So comma, the address. Now the row comes first, so the row here. Now the row is going to be the same as this one, plus 3. Okay, because William is on row 3 here, and he's on row 4, so 4 plus 3. So we're in the row, the same row, so we'll leave that blank, plus 3. Okay, the next one is the column. The column is going to be the same column as F, and then if it's unit 1, then it is going to be E. Well, at the moment we're writing an F, so that would be column as it is -1, so that we're looking at E. So let's have a look, and so column as it is -1. Okay, and we're just going to close those off. Now I've put in quite a few commas here because we're gonna move on. Okay, we've got the address that we want. We're cancelling all that, and now what sheet is that going to be? And of course, as before, that was form. Me and my caps lock. That was form 7. Let me just go back and show you. There's form 7 there, and then we can put our speech marks here. Okay, I'm going to close that. So sometimes I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2. So now we're back in our if statements. Okay. Put a comma now, we can now put the next nested if statement, or our second condition. Okay, so if that's the condition, then that's what we're going to do, and that was what we were going to do. It's quite a long one. Okay, well, if condition 2 would be E4 equals unit 1, so E4 equals the string unit 1, unit 2, close those, comma. Now what? Well, we're going to import that range. Exactly the same. Close that, and our address is going to be the same row as before, so row as it is plus 3, so that we're reading from row 7, comma. Let's have a look at our column. So our column is going to be as it was. Now before we were reading from column E, so that was -1. Now we're reading from J, so J is, we're at F at the moment, plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So plus 4. Does that make sense? Okay, and now we're going to refer to the form again. So that was form 7, and that is, you can do that. You see what happened there? That went red, so I know I've put in too many. Let's enter that and cross our fingers. The 7E. Oh, there's nothing there. Okay, let's have a look. Let's say that William was excellent. Is it going to update? There it is. Look at that. Fantastic. Now let's test out the last thing I said, and that was if I move this down, nothing here will change. And well, that's okay because we're referring to the same row. So if I move this down to row 5, so copy and paste. Now unit 2, so nothing's changed. However, we're looking at unit 2, and Apple apparently got a D for that assessment. So Apple got a D for that assessment. Okay, let's just change these around. So we've got excellent and D, and unit 1 and 2. And let's see how live it is. So we're going to do unit 2 here and unit 1 here. Of course, that wouldn't happen because we have not given a value here yet. So does it work? Yes, it's working. So this is how you communicate between the sheets and the files, and how you enter quite a lot of formula in one cell by using the array formula. And we've also just covered how you can keep the rows and the columns going up as you paste them in sequence within an actual formula. In Unit 2, there is no assessment 2. However, in Unit 1, there is an assessment 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it. Remember, Unit 1 has 2 assessments. If Unit 1 here, then I want you to do all this. Okay, well, the rows are still the same, and the column is -1, so G is now going to be reading from F in the other sheet. Let's have a look. F, yeah, good. So that's working. So again, because of this, we're now keeping up with everything. Everything's changing from here. However, Unit 2 doesn't have a range. So I can actually delete this one, and instead what we're going to say is do nothing. So this will actually print the string of nothing, not a space. It's important that you do this, so you don't leave a space between these speech marks. And we take those brackets out. Okay, so that was there. Let's drag that down, and let's change these. So Unit 1 has now got very good. Good. So theoretically, we should have nothing here and something there. And so what it's doing is it's reading from the other file, and then it's deciding what to do, and it's either going to populate this or it's not. And I'll leave you now to do your own targets so that you can read the targets.